It doesn't matter if this is going,
wow.
I'll edit it. I know, fancy, right?
Crazy,
Do you
fancy.
want this? Or I don't really care for
It's
it.
alright. Right?
Is it going, is it? And your one as well?
I'm gonna do my introduction for the channel. Right.
Yeah, go on.
Hey, I'm Vergo and this is Psychedelic Actualization. On this channel we talk about topics like self-realization, self-actualization and working with psychedelics to live a more authentic and fulfilling life. Today I'm here with my good friend and YouTube colleague OXSN, and we're going to talk about why it is so important to us to walk down this psychedelic path and using psychedelics for self-actualization and self-realization. You want to introduce yourself just very shortly and tell what you are all about and what
Let's
your
get it.
work is all about?
Come on. Yes, thank you very much. I'm super happy to be here. So yeah, so my name is OXSN, and I'm 19 now, and I just kind of I was always very interested in magic mushrooms and psychedelics. Just I don't know like where the interest came from, but I just like started taking mushrooms at young, and they just completely transformed like everything I thought I knew. And so the context before we started the video was we was gonna contemplate and just kind of go forward and see where it goes, and start off with the question of why do I was gonna ask Vergo from Psychedelic Actualization, why do we find what is it that he finds so important about the kind of holistic personal development or actualization with psychedelics, and you know, what is it that really like makes us so passionate about it? Because clearly we're very passionate. We both have extensive YouTube channels, and this is really at the core of and I think you'd agree psychedelics are basically at the core of like
life.
yeah, it's like do you not feel, because I've said a lot that I feel my psychedelic experiences, mainly magic mushrooms that I've done extensively, that I'm not really I feel like I should be hesitant to say, but I can't lie, they've been like my peak experiences in life and my lowest. Not like necessarily the peak, but you know, they are very up there. Like have you heard of the study, like it's like 1 in 3 people deem it like the most, like one of the most important experiences of their life,
like as important as getting a child or getting married or whatever. It's like one of those experiences that are up there. But I feel like for some people it's like good to have some of those experiences, and then some are like fine after 1 or 2 or 3 experiences. They have a lot to work on, they integrate them, and they keep their experiences in their heart. But for us it's like more like this passion is so big to explore this realm and to see what it can do for our self-actualization and self-realization, that we are continuously engaging in this experience and seeing what is there and how can we even integrate more of these realizations and insights, or explore deeper facets of these realizations in this realm. And this is what's so interesting. I mean, for me as well, it was also when I was very young, like 16 years old, I discovered them, and I thought like there was this inert curiosity in the psychedelic experiences. Even before I even took my first trip, I was like so intrigued by the topic, kind of so curious about the topic. And then after having my first kinds of experiences, it's like it just ignited this passion into consciousness itself. It's not just about the psychedelics, but it ignited this passion into exploring consciousness through whatever means, through breathwork, through plants and plant medicines, through psychedelics, through sweat lodge or ice bath or whatever methods are out there. All these are kind of changing our consciousness, and parts of these experiences have led me to realizations that were so beautiful and meaningful to me, that I think I found them quite important to integrate them. And even like part of the integration, I feel like, is going back to the experience and like having an insight and double checking it with another experience
you're exactly right.
to deepen the
Because
understanding.
you can't really know it unless you're in it, and so you can have an insight and then come out and go and then you go back in, you go, yeah, actually I was right, or you adjust it. So I think psychedelics are very holistic and big picture, I think, in their nature. And I think when we're on about the question of like how are they so useful for like personal development, self-actualization, self-realization, etc. Obviously, if you look at like the whole personal development landscape on YouTube, half of these and really the more developed thought leaders or public intellectuals, they will know about psychedelics, because those who don't know about psychedelics, it really seems to stem a lot from like kind of ignorance, like in terms of you don't know about them because they're illegal, likely, and if you did know about them, then it would probably shift your paradigm because they're a bit mad. They're more than a bit mad. But what I was going to say about like why they're useful with the personal development is because I like to use this analogy that I kind of robbed from an artist called Quadeca, but in short, life is like a climb, like a mountain, and when you're climbing a mountain, you can't see the whole fucking mountain. You can only see like a few ledges ahead, maybe. So psychedelics, like I think in not only this, they do so much, and no two trips are the same. It's really like an infinite landscape. But I think they basically zoom out so you can, when you're going through your day to day, you're concerned with what I would call like false summits, and that means on a mountain, like a false summit would be what looks like the peak of the mountain. You know, when someone thinks they got to the peak and then they're like, oh fuck, there's actually, it keeps going. That's your life. But when you take psychedelics, you see the whole fucking thing, kind of.
Yeah, I like that analogy, and I think what relates it to the self-actualization and self-realization is intention, and the intention is kind of choosing your summit. Maybe eventually all of them lead to the same summit. I'm not sure about that, but I've met people who are like indulging in psychedelics recreationally, just for fun, doing LSD 100, 200, 300 times, but they've never actually like glimpsed the same summit as I did, with the intention of going into it with the intention of peeking into self-realization, getting glimpses into questions of who am I, what is love, what is reality, and these are kind of little summits that we can actually peek into, and then we come back, we're on our journey up the mountain, maybe, hopefully, like integrating our experiences, knowing where we're going, but then this whole path up the mountain is kind of full of distractions and full of pathways that you can go to eventually, and many of them are gonna lead you down the mountain again. It's like, and you don't even realize, because it's like such a labyrinth, this whole reality. And that's why, like, I think for myself, going back into the glimpse again is very valuable to peak the right summit again. It's like, that's where I was going, that's where I want to be.
I know what you mean.
And then integrating it and kind of forging your life path in a way that is in the right direction.
There's something. Yes, go on. I don't mean to steamroll.
Yeah, and also the path about the ignorance, I think, was what I thought of is also why they are so important to me, is they are kind of closely related to truth. Like, truth is such a really interesting term, and like defining what truth is for myself, psychedelics helped me a lot with that.
Yeah.
Of like actually contemplating what is true for myself, not what I've heard from other people, not what any book has said, but like my own direct experience of the truth. And psychedelics kind of cut right through to a certain truth of experience and perception.
I think they can. It depends who you are, but I don't know. I often say to people, if you take, like, for example, 5 dried grams of mushrooms in silent darkness. Not even necessary. I just say basically you will confront like infinity. And I normally say it doesn't really matter who you are in it, but it probably does, because it depends. I mean, you might not. But it will literally take you to the spiral realms, like most likely. But sometimes, I don't know. Maybe not for rare cases, but yeah. So what he was saying, yeah, I think psychedelics really reorientate you, and again, that's in the direction of truth. And I think a lot of these realizations can come from, like, if you look at the brain scan, basically, in short, the whole brain is activated full blast, where normally it's only so much, so like 20% of it looks like. And I also know in my direct experience, like, it's an analogy, or basically what it literally feels like is happening often, especially in silent darkness or in like a retreat setting. You like swim through your subconscious mind. It like reveals everything, and in there it's like you can unlock such a depth of introspection and contemplation. There's like a magnetic attraction that just takes you through your thoughts, and it's so introspective and diverse. But when you're sober, you can't penetrate the questions as deeply, I've found. Do you agree? Oh, maybe not.
Maybe.
That's
yeah,
what
I mean,
find. When I take
is
some mushrooms, I'm going down rabbit holes of
Yeah.
of crazy go on.
There's an intensity of experience. It kind of intensifies and supercharges that contemplation, sometimes at least, and with some substances just
I'm just mushrooms, though. That's
taking
the
you
thing.
out there. Yeah.
You're everything else, though. Because I'm like probably 110 trips deep into mushrooms, but I think you are very much more diverse. I've done a few LSD trips, but I've never done DMT. I know you've done over 100 DMT trips, right?
Yeah, not breakthrough, but kind of dabbling into that realm. And that's so interesting also about the different realms of the psychedelics in relation to self-realization and self-actualization. Is like, not all experiences are that valuable for the path of my self-actualization. Some are really confusing. Some are leading into different rabbit holes of entities, of different spiritual realms or energies or whatever topics, like archetypes. And there's a lot of potential for delusion as well, maybe, of falling into a certain sense of believing something that you've experienced in a psychedelic experience, but that is not as beneficial for your life. It depends also how you want to lead your life. If you want to be like grounded in culture, and then finding the balance of how often to indulge in these realms and how deeply to delve into them. Because yeah, for example, one mushroom trip of mine is like eating 8 grams of mushrooms. You can watch the report on my channel. First half was really beautiful, but then this like dark mushroom lord entity came and humbled me, and was just demonstrating its power. And of course, that is also kind of in the bigger picture part of the path of self-realization, but it's like sprinkles in a little bit of confusion of like, breaking paradigms, even of thoughts of what does unity mean, what is separation, me feeling separate from this entity, is it just a part of my unconscious? Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, because that's when I meet, like, I've met like grids of like pure like intelligence, and it's like, you've probably seen way madder stuff, like, but that's some of the but like, when I look at it, I'm like, is that me? Or like, it's in my mind. Like the you can, like, the stuff that you can see, like, with your mind's eye, so to speak, like, basically. Oh yeah, so LSD, basically, the reason I got into psychedelics in the first place, when we're talking about the original approach to this video, was the question of using, well, psychedelics for self-actualization. I went into psychedelics because I was like, I had not very good mental health when I was like 16, etc. And I took an LSD trip. I'd had 2 in about a week, and the first one, it was like it was the beauty and the connection to just the visuals and the love was enough to like heal me. Like literally, I was literally fine for like so long after that. Like it just relieves, and it often I speak with friends and tell me if you can relate to this, Virgo, but like if you're, you know how you sometimes you can get like lost in life and things, disorientated.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever feel like if you took like a large dose of something like that, it just it just cuts all the bullshit out? There's probably other methods like breath work and cold showers and stuff like that, but you know what I mean? If you're ever like depressed or like just not centered, if you take like a large dose of shrooms, in 6 hours you will be fucking centered. Kind of, or like, you know what I mean? When you come down, you'll be back.
It depends on the person.
Yeah.
Some people can rail them off some more. Some
that's
who are
true.
really mentally unstable, they gotta
not forever. Like
approach it carefully.
Yeah.
But for myself, from my own experience, it's resonates as true. Of like, if I'm not sure of going left or right, and I take 600 mics of acid, most likely I will feel in my heart which one is the right way to go.
That's the best thing
It's
I've
very
ever heard.
true for me.
That's it. If you've got a big decision, the psychedelics will let you know what to do, and and it's true often. Like but only if you know how to use them, like you say.
Yeah.
You can't. Maybe not for everyone.
And then also integrating the experience, because as you said, you can have an intensity and a depth of an inquiry into a question of your life. You experience these revelations, you get the glimpse of the summit, but then psychedelics have this really interesting character to them that you forget very easily after the experience, after you come out of this holistic, beautiful, realized state, especially very intense with like DMT. You have these revelations and these, I don't know, beautiful sacred geometry visions. And then it's like, beep, here we go. You forgot just almost everything you experienced. And then it's on you to contemplate it again and write it down, journal about it. And this is where the importance kind of comes in for this path, I think, is the kind of integration of these experiences. Like actually changing your state in your everyday life. And then acting from this place of realization more and more, even though you cannot possibly contain 100% of this realization every time you go in here. But even if you can integrate 1% or even 0.1% of what you've just realized into your day-to-day, you've made a huge leap in your state. And this, I felt like, benefited my life in so many ways. It's like connected me deeper to my own truth, my own authenticity, my own like honesty, clarity about values, who I am, what I want to do in this world, and this is why psychedelics are so valuable and so important for me, especially in connection with those other topics that I'm really passionate about, like self-realization and self-actualization.
I think it's really important. I think the key point, basically what you just said, is the thing is it's not like we just done them like on a whim. We do them with a lot of research. We do them with a lot of contemplation. I'm always contemplating basically the same things surrounding psychedelics like all the time because it's my passion. I'm very into these things. Vergo is pursued like countless ayahuasca ceremonies, etc. It's like we build a whole brand about it. And so it's, most people don't like do this, at least around here, but the main thing is, what I'm trying to say is that we pursue it over a number of years, and when you keep on doing that, but you don't just do that, you take the insights and you integrate them into your life, that there's me personally and Vergo, we can directly say for ourselves, regardless if you want to say about anything else, we personally believe and know that the psychedelics reveal what we deem as like very important and life-changing insights. These experiences are very central to everything, the way that we orientate ourselves in the world and everything that we know. We find ourselves through these, and but what I'm saying is through hundreds of trips and supposed insights, or so it seems, our richness of understanding of ourselves and the universe seems to be enhanced. That's how it feels. And to be honest, like psilocybin, it literally like creates like neurogenesis. And what I'm saying is, it's not just the psychedelics; it's also everything else. His channel's called Psychedelic Actualization for a reason, and it's using them in codependence, like with personal development. And when you do that, there's something about it, because psychedelics are so healing. And I tried, there's so many personal development channels that just don't talk about psychedelics at all, and I think it's because they don't know, because most people don't really know what they are around here.
And also, I feel like it is not, of course it's not a path for everyone. So if it is not a path for you, that's totally fine.
Mm-hmm.
But going deeper on this path relates back to this why. I feel like, especially nowadays for me, it's way more important to have a strong why of why is it important. Why do I want to keep exploring it? Because I feel like the deeper I go, the more strange and weird and deep territory I encounter. And I feel like I'm just at the beginning after these hundreds of experiences.
Yeah.
It's like it's there's so much depth and so much, also so many like weird and strange and chaotic realms that we can encounter that are quite terrifying and can be quite terrifying. Or and to go through that and to be ready to surrender and let go, which is kind of one of the main practices in the experience itself, into these very deep experiences, requires a strong sense of why, because otherwise it's really easy to freak out. And like even now I am contemplating, it's like, is this path really, is it really for me? Because just imagining of what I can encounter, or just reading about other people's experiences, other courageous psychonauts like Mr. Beige, who did 70 high-dose LSD sessions and reporting back about his experiences of going through the ocean of suffering of the whole of humanity and even beyond that, of experiencing visions of being every murder that has ever existed and being the person who has been murdered. I was like, this is some really intense sense of experience.
That's what I was saying, earlier when he told me about, what's that book called?
LSD and the Mind of the Universe.
So, I was saying, like, how is it that, like, you just take this compound and then you just witness every, like, murder ever? Like, because that's what I'm on about. Like, maybe not that, but me personally, I've taken it and I've literally, like, turned into, like, tree roots and leaves and shit, and like I'm literally like mounting into the earth, and like whatever you want, I'm not believing in it, it literally happened to me. And that's what I'm saying. Like, there's some things about it that you don't, it's not a belief system. A lot of people think spirituality and this side of things is a belief system, and some of it can be, but a lot of it just happens. It's like Terence McKenna's approach. He just goes, oh my god. He doesn't really draw conclusions from it. I've been guilty of it, and there are conclusions in there, but because it's full of insights. But regardless of what you want to say, just the beauty outside of using it for personal development, just like the release of energy and the fact that you can just. Before I took a dose, and I got really hot all of a sudden and started breathing loads, and I literally felt like I was healing. Like I was literally in like some trance, and I was like, my body was like, it was really weird, and it felt like I was like vibrating and stuff, and I felt like I was healing. I don't know what it was on loads of mushrooms.
Yeah, there seems to be a quality of
miracles.
miracles of deep releases, like physically, emotionally, and spiritually happening, which is just quite interesting and valuable to witness and to experience. And I guess also, what was I gonna say? I guess also just this sense of experience is, I don't know anymore. It gets quite dark.
Yeah, it's pretty
Hope
dark.
you can see. That was our little contemplation and inquiry of why it is
I think
important
that was
to
good.
us.
I'm glad.
Yeah.
We were going to do a podcast, but then Vergo suggested that we do that. I'm happy we done what we did. I think that was actually pretty good.
Yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you could take some value out of this little discussion. Hope you don't mind that it gets quite dark.
Subscribe to me, bruv. I'm in the description, and
Yeah, check out OXSN's channel. It's quite fun to meet like-minded people. Also meeting some of you guys. Traveling around has just been absolutely beautiful. If you want to know where I'm traveling, you can check out my website, psychedelicactualization.com. You can sign up for my newsletter, and I'll let you know where I'm traveling so we can meet up. And yeah, much love, many blessings. Thank you so much, everybody.
love. Come on. That was sick, bro. 26 minutes.
26. Yeah, long enough.